initiation started early on, it's really tough for the other Terran player to hold it. It's a very, very difficult situation.
Well, we've seen it happen twice now where the player that is on the aggression does take down the game by doing a lot of damage early on. And Bravo still with no headphones on. So
yeah, I think they're allowed up to 5 minutes to take a break if they want. Not all players use them to go to the restrooms. As you can see here, it looks like he's just kind of getting in the zone. Maybe shaking off some of those salty feelings.
Oh yeah,
you know, from the last game.
Shaking off the salt that was coming out of his hair, coming out of his ears. It's on his shoulders. Got to get that off his chest.
This is man, it's tough, man. After you lose a StarCraft game, man, it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
Well, let's see how they play then here in game number 3 here. We're going to be on Dust Towers. We'll talk more about that map specifically when we get into game, but it seems like these guys are fairly evenly matched so far.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. Maybe Bravo getting a bit ahead of himself in game number 2, trying to do too much with too little.
You know, game number 1 was pretty convincing from him, and sometimes, you know, when you're really beating somebody, especially in a StarCraft game,
you just try
you start to like do more than you really know that you can get away with.
Yeah.
And it almost seemed like that's what happened.
You're like,
I
want to make this guy look bad. I shut down his attack, and now I'm going to go kill him.
Now
actually, you don't need to do that.
I'm doing everything, but I think most of StarCraft is very formulaic until you get into these very obscure positions, and you got to be very tactical in the middle of the map. I think that was a formulaic scenario. You should have followed the basic rule: take gold, defend. Anyways, guys, tell your friends to tune in. We are going into game number 3, Forte against Bravo. In the bottom left, in the blue, our Terran player.
MVP 치킨 마루 포르테.
All right, his opponent up here in the red.
삼성 갤럭시 브라보.
Bravo taking a bit of time just to cool himself down, shake off some of that salt. We'll see what he decides to do this time around. Dust Towers, similar to Orbital Shipyard in that it does have that backdoor base, but I don't think it necessarily has as much of a punishable third. I think you're a bit more protected. There's not like a giant cliff below it, and you can't siege up the gas, stuff like this.
Well, this is something way back in StarCraft. People started experimenting with this, and you know, map makers came to this. I mean, at the time it was pretty crazy, but this conclusion of why don't you just have a natural in the back of your base instead of the front? Why don't? I mean, you don't have to just always expand outwardly. You could expand inwardly, as odd as that might sound, and. You know, it allowed for a lot of different ways to play the game, and I think then the next big revolution in StarCraft, as far as changing the way that people could expand, was to use maps in StarCraft 2 specifically that had gold bases. What if we get a resource that just rewards you a little bit more than normal, but is of course in a position where you're not really safe if you take it. And that's made for some other very very interesting and very rewarding games to play when you start to learn this new thing. And that SCV is having a seizure.
Oh,
all right, he's okay now. He's okay now. Don't worry.
Yeah, you snapped him out of it, Tasteless.
Yeah. Over here for red, though, for Bravo. Again, this is something I'm sorry, guys, if I'm harping on this too much, but it's really interesting to me, and it seems to be a theme that we've had throughout the StarCraft 2 and Legacy of the Void with Terran versus Terran is the ones who tech up and stay on one base for longer but get tanks medevacs out earlier seem to be doing better overall. It seems to lead into a very strong late game.
Yeah, and Bravo's done this 3 times in a row in terms of how his buildings went. Of course, in the first game he got a Banshee. Second one he got a Raven, I think just to defend the push. But similar builds in both games. Definitely does like his tech in this matchup, and I think this is just going to be an early drop.
Yeah, it looks like it. Is he supply blocked? Oh, okay, no, it's about to finish. I was going to say, that's pretty bad.
Yeah. Well.
And it looks like he's going to do just what you were talking about, Valdez. He's going to try to push up over here. And let's see how much damage he actually manages to pull off with it. We do have a Hellion coming out right now for Forte. And yeah, it's time. This drop is going to happen. And by the way, along with this, he's going to be getting Cloak.
Yeah, that's the follow-up here. Just going to do a very light drop, just 1 tank and 4 Marines. Or maybe 5. There is 1, of course, running across the map. And maybe just siege the bottom of the ramp. Maybe try to get into that back door, get your tank in a nice position to siege up. And this Hellion is going to notice that some units are missing. Something is a bit off.
Now, what's funny about this is he's actually going to the ramp, which is pretty smart because this is not where you're looking. So he's going to come up and he's going to get just in range of the production facilities. And it looks like the Cyclone might be coming up here. And nice pick up there. I love the micro. That's so sick. Now he's going to try to drive back this Viking. Right now it's still only 4 Marines. Well, now 3 Marines remaining here doing damage. Nothing really left around here to help follow this attack up.
Yeah, well, the follow-up is going to be that Banshee when it comes out eventually. We do have the first one out here with Cloak about to finish.
This is so sick. So he shimmies over to the right now. Now we don't have any gas being mined on this side of the map. A drop going to come in on top of this.
Yeah, it's just going to pick up and try to run away, but a really nice job targeting with that Cyclone to take down both the medevac and the tank. So, unfortunately, he did get a bit of damage done early, but he loses a lot of units in the meantime.
But it's not done yet. The Banshee's going to come in here now, and he's gunning down a good... Well, he actually hasn't killed any SCVs yet. Okay, there goes his first one. But, yeah, he's doing a good job keeping Forte back and busy. But when you look at the worker count, it's so clear that Forte is ahead. It's 42 to 29. These Banshees, by the way, are not really paying for themselves.
Yeah, it looked like Forte was very much ready for the Banshee follow-up. I think he kind of read into the exact build that Bravo was doing. He's probably faced this a lot of the time when he's facing his companions, in the team house. So he knew the follow-up, and he was very, very well prepared for it. It did not nearly enough damage to keep Bravo in this game.
The Banshee now coming down here. The Viking going to be able to push that Banshee away for a little bit. Kind of a cute tank drop, which is doing, to be frank, way more damage than I ever expected it to be doing. It stopped 2 buildings from finishing, so he's got to send SCVs over there.
Yeah, and he's got to read on where this Banshee is as well. Oh,
yeah, looks like he was trying to shadow that Banshee, but ultimately was not able to do that. Coming up here, it's going to be up to Bravo to handle what will be a very strong counterattack here from Forte.
Yeah, well, it looks like Bravo has got this 3rd command center, this orbital, up and finished. So just going to try to come back in the worker count. He got that faster than Forte got his 3rd CC out here. Scan is going to reveal all of this.
Yeah, and this is almost a moment where you just get to see that he's only just now getting the structures he needs to start pumping an army out to where he can start powering up. Whereas back here in Forte's base, it's very, very clear that he's had this up for a while. We see all these barracks cranking out a ton of Marines. And Stim is only just now starting. Now, that's a late Stim, but it's also okay because he's not attacking. He's simply acquiring a 3rd. General rule for Terran, whenever they're going for infantry, is they can't really do much on the map to an incredible effect without Stim. I know there are some exceptions like bunker rushes and stuff like that, but overall, you need Stim. Now, when that Stim does finish for Forte, I think we can expect a push or a drop. One of the two.
Oh, well, he's going to have Stim and combat shields and +1 attack and +1 armor. So
yeah,
that's a lot of upgrades syncing up at the exact same time. This was 100% planned. This didn't just happen magically, of course. And he's going to definitely try to swing the hammer against Bravo eventually. This Cyclone out on the right side of the map is actually going to spot this drop.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that was there, but I guess good for him for having that there. That was a little bit strange. The medevacs are moving through here, and it looks like they might just barely be missed. Oh, my
that's
God.
So
are you serious? That's so crazy.
That's so unfortunate because now his units are out on the map. They're going to be on the totally wrong side of the map at the same time. He does have some tanks back at home, but it looks like he's picking them up now to go for a possible attack of his own.
Well, if he can actually get this drop off in a good spot, he can probably force a lift and make these SCVs evacuate. Is he actually going to go in? Uh-oh, he's been spotted, and he is making a beeline over here towards the expansion in the back, dropping the tanks.
Yeah, but look at this. The Marines all get into a really nice position to tank
Oh
actually
my
for
God.
his own tanks.
Really nice targeting.
Tanks.
Beautiful targeting there by Forte. I absolutely love it. He got 3 tanks and then rotates back. Meanwhile, a disastrous attack here from Bravo. Oh man, Bravo in a lot of trouble.
Look at the supplies.
Yeah, it's comically different here. Also, he's going for the eBay. Looks like the upgrade's just barely finished, but still, taking out those eBays, that's going to hurt him in the long run.
He's lost an entire base at this point. He's at about half the amount of workers. And from here, I mean, Forte's done the damage. He's just going to sit back and try to trade really well from here, as he knows he's got a nice little position.
Looks like he wanted to come up there and get that tank, but he can't. He might actually relocate the tanks down here and try to get some SCVs elsewhere. I don't believe we have a Viking out right now for Bravo. I think that was gunned down. Oh, man. Forte is looking so good. Bravo going to be in a world of hurt as this attack hits the front. Now, will he just reinforce? Okay, he answered my question for me. He's making the moves faster than I can cast it. He's actually okay with Bravo being at the entrance because Forte has so much, he should just steamroll his opponent.
Yeah, he could actually just pick up and drop into the main or into the third, whatever he wants to do really at this point. Looks like he's going to stim up the ramp and try to get those tanks in a good position and end this game.
Okay, he's stimming, he's coming up, and I think this should just be it. There is way too much. Really good job there by Forte, staying in his opponent's face, doing the damage he needed to do. Excellent job, especially gunning down those 3 tanks in that drop back there in the backdoor natural. That was beautiful.
Yeah. Also, a lot of it came down to Bravo going for that big timing early on with the small amount of Marines and the tank. It really did not get enough damage, so we had a really nice response coming out of Forte on the defense. And from there, he was so far ahead. He had his second base up much faster, was ahead like 15 SCVs. So by that point, I mean, just looking at the economies of both players, Forte was way too far ahead. And Bravo, unfortunately, just could not claw himself back in that game.
Dude, the TVT pushes are so sick now.
Yeah,
I absolutely love it. I mean, it's just so different, man. This is so fun.
Yeah.
Well, nice job. I think in this matchup, you want to be on the offense always. It is, I'd say, harder to defend than to be aggressive in TVT with the way the medevac and the tank operate. I mean, you guys are already seated here.
Yeah, I mean, if you are not ready to get your tanks into position to defend, you're going to sustain so much damage because now that the opponent can pick them up, it just offers so much more escapability to just go in there, do a bit of damage, and run away, or go in there and just get a really nice position before you can.
Yeah, and everybody's had that game where the tanks are, one of your tanks is in a bad spot, and you think, oh, I'm going to lose it, or if I try to unsiege it, they're going to stim forward and run it and kill it.
Yeah.
Well, not anymore, man. Now you just pick it
now
up.
Now they're
invulnerable. And by the way, the fact that the, well, hold up, I'll get to that in a second. Guys, we're going to go into game number 4. Can Bravo come back, or is Forte going to close us out? In the bottom right, in the blue, in the lead.
MVP 치킨 마루 포르테.
Forte, former Salvation. Still on MVP here.
In the upper left, in the red.
삼성 갤럭시 브라보.
And the crowd goes wild.
Yeah, you could really see the excitement on their faces.
You could feel the passion.
Yeah.
You know, like we've been talking about with these tank pushes, these tank drops, you also have to factor in that you can like pick up the tanks at this almost comical distance with the medevac. You know what I mean? It's crazy what you can do with that. And
well, with the boost ability that's been around for a while, it just, you know, it offers so much mobility to the tank. For sure. Of course, it is a different unit, but it's a pretty staple composition nowadays because of how strong it is.
I'll give you a little confession, Valdez. I remember when I mean, this is pretty cool, and I get this cool opportunity because I've been, you know, casting StarCraft for so long. But when I was working with Blizzard, I think it was like many BlizzCons. Whenever it was announced Legacy of the Void was coming out, they showed me the trailer that everybody was going to see. I got to see it a couple days early. But I remember seeing the siege tanks get picked up in siege mode, and I remember I said out loud, I said, I don't know about that. I said, I don't know how I feel about that. That's pretty crazy that you're now making the siege tank, which is the staple Terran unit for defense, for pushing, for controlling an area. You're now making that as mobile as a speed medevac. I mean, that's so crazy to me. By the way, gunning down that worker.
Yeah. It's definitely I don't know. It's definitely strong, but especially I feel like the other two races have stuff to deal with it, whereas TVT, they both have the option to go for it. So it's kind of this idea where they're both like slightly overpowered, but because they're on the same level, it kind of matches up and it's okay. And I feel like that makes for very exciting games as well.
It's interesting in a TVZ what you can do, because it used to be that Terran would stim up. There'd be, like, especially in Wings of Liberty, for instance, there'd be siege tanks, and banelings would come in, and the Marines kind of fork out, and eventually the siege tanks get consumed by the Lings, and it's the remaining infantry forking out and stimming. But now the matchup does seem to operate a little bit differently in TVZ, because you can just pick up the tanks and relocate them, so you can have them onto the high ground, onto the low ground, back and forth.
Yeah,
and
also when you consider the new unit for the Terran Deliberator, if you can amass those, they do very nicely against the Mitas, which used to help out against the medevacs that can now drop. So the Terran has something to deal with the counter, I suppose, to what would be the mobile tank that would be flying around in those medevacs. But we see so many Liberators nowadays, it's like, well, it makes it a bit harder, for sure.
Meanwhile, we do see the gas tech that's been happening here for Forte, but this is actually our biggest map. This map is insanely huge.
Yeah, even
so
Bravo.
Yeah,
even Bravo, a guy who has been teching every game, decides to go for a very early CC into teching, and then a third CC actually coming down. And we did get a scan there, but it actually missed the third CC. We said before that sometimes pro gamers, they kind of just have intuition from playing so many games where they're like, that base doesn't look like what a base should look like for a Terran at 430 if he didn't have a third CC,
Right, something seems a little bit off here. By the way, the beginning of potential initiation, we have a medevac coming down now, and it is going to be headed towards Forte. Now, that means that Bravo does not have much of anything to defend here at home, although that may not be an issue whatsoever, since it seems as though Forte is interested in defending. Oh, nope, I spoke too soon. He's going to come out with his own drop, so that might be able to do a good amount of damage.
Yeah, we'll see these players kind of trade drops, but Bravo definitely has the advantage in that he sent out that drop a lot earlier. And this Viking is actually on the wrong side, whereas there's a Cyclone down at the natural. But these Marines should be able to drop in first.
Okay, Hellion just doing a little bit of harassment here on these Marines. The drop begins over here. Cyclone coming out. And not too much of an impact there. Meanwhile, the drop comes up for Forte, entering into Bravo's main. There is a Cyclone here as well. But he's not. Okay, now he's going to move forward here. Nice control, backing away from the range of that Cyclone.
Deciding to go for the medevac here, wants to get a bit of damage done to that so he can shut down the drop in the future. And that was actually a nice drop in that it scouted the third base. Didn't necessarily get too much damage done, but does give a lot of information to Forte.
Yeah, I think it's fine because he didn't lose much of anything back there. Stim is starting for both players right now, and they're going to be trying to squeeze out their third bases as quickly as humanly possible. Medevacs just flying around. Note the caution that both sides have when using their medevacs here. They're not really intending on doing a ton of damage. They're just using this, in a sense, to staple the opposing player and his army to keep them back at home.
And it's kind of just to feel out where the enemy is and what he's got as well. You get to see what kind of buildings he's making, as Forte did with his little drop. You can see if you can get a couple SCVs, get a slight advantage, but this is definitely going to be the longest game that we're going to have in the series, just due to the way this map works out.
Ooh, can he actually get under that? He's going to try to deny this from landing. Tanks are now coming down here. Not enough Marines with that medevac to effectively do any kind of real damage.
And we got a nice little drop from Bravo coming in towards the third base now, but there's a tank position, so Bravo just going to lift off into the main, possibly.
He's actually, loading up here onto the high ground. Viking coming over here to spot. And kind of a funny situation they're in. It looks like the Vikings somehow is going to get away. So now it's just, what, about 6 Marines there inside the main, trying to do as much damage as they can, but not enough. I mean, kind of a funky trade there from Bravo.
Yeah.
Most of the time with these drops, we see the players, in this case Forte, doing a better job just staying back and, boosting away. And investing in the late game, where it seems like Bravo's getting, at times, a little bit too greedy.
Now, it's possible. I mean, we've got an interesting situation coming here from Forte, where he delayed his third base a lot more than Bravo. So Bravo's got the better economy right now, but Forte's got the faster upgrades. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like he's looking to hit a timing with those upgrades. He does not yet have combat shields. That's maybe part of the reason, but Bravo is also delayed on his combat shields.
His Bravbat shields.
His
Bravbat shields, man.
Yeah.
Well, it's just 2 sides powering up, guys. They are going to go ahead and finish up their tech trees. We got sensor towers going down, armories almost finishing. And if you look at simply the numbers, it does seem to be the slightest lead right now for Bravo. But that could change in a heartbeat. I mean, 1 misplaced tank, 1 medevac that flies into a no-fly zone, deemed by the opposing player. Things could change. 1-1 finishing. We're going to go into an actual late TVT. And this is a treat for me because every TVT I've seen so far has been a complete bloodbath that ends very quickly.
Yeah, this is a bit of a different game that we're going to watch here for sure. And it's really just going to come down to scouting. Can you spot these medevacs that are going to try to drop in your back door before they get there? As we were saying before, if you can drop those tanks into a nice position with a bunch of Marines to just help out in the drop, you can just do an immense amount of damage. It looks like Bravo's just going to try to drop a bunch of Marines into the back door towards that main of Forte.
Well, I think what he wants is for some of that army to relocate, and then he's going to hit in a more critical spot. This is, in a way, always been what TVT has looked like, is trying to win the position game here. Oh, my God. Okay, he got away. I was going to say it's going to be bad.
Really nice reaction time from Forte.
He stims up, and then he just goes ahead and backs off. Now, this drop's going to happen probably over here in the main. What he wants to do is get some of that army pulled away, and then he hits in this really key point. And it looks like so far it's working. However, the rest of that that mobile siege tank and Marine army is not really around here. In fact, it's on the other side of the map. So, sure, Forte's going to have a hard time holding this, but at the same time, Forte can hold this off and then still defend this other big attack, possibly, if he executes that correctly.
Well, that was a really nice bit of damage that Bravo got done here, but Forte going to do a bit of his own damage into the main. There's a Cyclone here, but now these Marines do have stim. Finally, some Marines from the natural coming in to defend. Scan going down by, I'm not sure who there, maybe Bravo, to check if there was any defense or scouting units for this big drop that he was sending into the natural.
It looks like he might want to attack up over here. I do believe that Forte is going to be totally prepared for this, but let's see. Siege tank's not on the ground. He stims. He's going to dive in, and really nicely done there by Forte, just blasting down all these tanks.
Oh boy, that was just such a fantastic read out of Forte.
God, really nicely done.
He saw the seconds that Bravo lifted, and he stims in, gets his tanks into position, and takes a huge fight there. And really evening up the score.
You got to remember, guys, one of the big features of Terran is that they deal the most damage all at once. Okay, their burst damage is insane. Marines with stim, siege tanks with siege mode activated. You do a lot of damage, and that means in a TVT, because they dish out so much damage, and then you also have to remember that Terran take the most damage quickly.
Yeah. Keep in mind that in that fight, that Forte had 2-2 and Bravo had 1-1.
Well,
so
that I think was
he got the
biggest
positional
factor.
advantage, the timing advantage, and the upgrades. So he just ran up there and slaughtered that army of Bravo.
And this actually gives Forte a lot of openings. He might be able to push out here and possibly, really mess up Bravo. I mean, Bravo right now is trying to keep attention back here into the main. It doesn't seem to be too effective so far. Hold up! Hold up! Oh my God, Marines gunning down tanks, or medevacs holding tanks.
Well, I hate to say it, but that's like a game-losing move there by Bravo.
It
he
is.
lost about 3 medevacs and tanks, and a huge chunk of Marines just ran into a bunch of tank fire.
And losing tanks and medevacs is always more important than losing Marines, since Marines come out in droves from the barracks. And he's going to continue to push forward here. Bravo does not seem to be prepared. Bravo just barely hanging on to the edge of his base. Reinforcements are coming up here now.
The positioning of these tanks on the high ground was just so key for Forte to just have a really nice position coming into this fight. All those tanks very well protected.
And I don't see any more tanks right now for Bravo, so he can just keep leapfrogging these tanks forward. Forte in fantastic shape. The SCV's been pulled. He has to hold this attack off if he wants to continue on into this game.
And it doesn't look like he's going to be able to. Everything being shredded by all the tanks. GG.
Nicely done. Forte has done it. He is going to be moving on.
Wow, man. Forte, I don't know. He was looking a little bit like the Salvation of old, the Forte of old, where he wasn't the strongest Terran, but really showing his stuff off tonight. He had a weak game 1, but I don't know what he said to himself in the booth there after game number 1, but he was just like, okay, I got this. And he took 3 in a row against a guy like Bravo. That was really impressive.
Really nicely done there. He moves on. We're going to swap in Sojung.
Yeah, Sojung's here again. I'll be back.
Bye.
Hi, Sojung.
Hello.
That was cool, man. Forte played very well. Really impressive stuff. It seemed like he was out of his element in game 1, but then he really pulled through there.
Oh, Bravo looks devastated right now.
Sojung, I got to fix your mic. Hold still for a second. Say something now.
Okay, I was.
There you go. There you go. Now we can hear you.
I was saying Bravo looks devastated
Before
right now.
Sojung's mic wasn't close enough to her mouth, it sounded like I was talking to her. She's like in the back of the room. Sojung in the hall right now.
Oh, guys. So this is formerly known as Salvation, right? If I have his ID right?
Yes.
Right. Congratulations to Forte.
일단 처음으로 메인으로 올라와서
This is my first time advancing to CodeS. I was worried a lot, but I'm satisfied I did well tonight. I think what's left for me is for me to do really well. And Castor Park is pointing out that it's been really hard for Forte to come up here. He's been trying hard really
지금까지 제 노력이 그냥 부족했던 것 같아요.
And Forte says, I don't think I tried enough. I don't think I tried hard enough.
이후에 좀 지긴 했으나 표정이 어둡진 않았어요. 상당히
After Forte lost the first set, he didn't look too sad or devastated.
그런 배경이 있었나요?
Let's see how he controlled his mentality.
맵이 제가 되게 자신 없어서
Well, I wasn't too confident with the map to start with. I was just thinking that, I'll just lose this first set. I'll just play comfortably.
8세트 내주고 뭐 남은 경기 따내기 이러기가 쉽지가 않거든요.
패승승승을 생각을 한 건데 그런 판단하기 정말 어렵고 세라스테어에서 마지막 맵 같은 경우는 굉장히 맵이 강하고 4인용 맵이다 보니까
And the last
감시탑이
map
4개나
is a
있잖아요.
4-players map.
그거를
It's a
계속해서
really,
적극적으로
really big
활용해주는
map.
모습이
But
있었는데
Forte was using
누군가의
all the
조언이
site
있었나요? 아니면
spots.
본인이 연습을 하면서 이걸 잡아야 세라스테어를 잡을 수 있다라고 판단을 한 건가요?
그거는
Andrea B is asking how he
제가
trained.
변현준 선수 플레이 보고 와 진짜
I learned
이거는
from Byun's play actually.
꼭 따라해야겠다 싶어서
I have to copy
되게
this play.
꼼꼼한 플레이
It's a really, really delicate play, and I try to play like him.
혹시 이거 테란 정말 준비 열심히 한 것 같은데 특별히 이 테란
Well, it was a great
준비함에
TBT.
있어서 도움을 따로 준
Let's see who helped him out.
도와준 그런
Forte,
테란 선수
when he
혹은
practiced.
조언자가 있나요?
Maybe Terran or an advisor.
그 동원이 형하고 병재 형이 진짜 정말 열심히
Kumio helped me out.
둘다 태태전 정말 잘하셔가지고
I don't know who
이번 기회에
동현
좀
is.
태태전 많이 배운 것
Because
같아요.
I think it's another Terran.
I think you're probably right. I think it's a safe bet. Sojung's looking at me like I know, like I have no idea, Sojung.
I only know the one who retired and went to military.
저그전은 되게 할 만한 것 같은데
I think TVZs are okay, but TVPs you just can't win at all.
좀 피하고 싶어요.
I just don't want to meet any Protoss.
자, 하지만 뭐 이제 코드에서
But
올라가서
still.
진정한 승부사들과 대결을 펼쳐야 됩니다.
Now the game
오랫동안
starts with
기다려서 올라온
CodeS.
코드에스 이 많은 각오한 말씀과 목표 한번 들어보겠습니다.
Let's see what his goals are for this season.
열심히 하겠습니다.
I'll try my
네,
best.
알겠습니다.
This is just a Korean way.
This
Korean
is a
StarCraft
very
way.
Korean pro gamer interview. I will try harder and I will make good games for my fans.
This is like Mario style.
Yeah.
I'll do well. I don't know how I did it, but
And see if it was innovation, like he would play like a really sick series and then be like, I wasn't that good in this series.
I wasn't really satisfied, but I won. So
Yeah. So look at this. I bought this cookie today, and it came with eyes. It came with these pet rock eyes. So you guys check this out. Look at this. I'm a Protoss player. See? I was waiting to do this for our first break, and the whole time I'm like, where's my pet rock eyes? And we had to look. We had to look through the whole desk because one of them.
Found it.
It was underneath this thing right here in front of us. Anyways, we are going to go to a short break. When we come back, we'll be going to our final best of 5 here in today's GSL CodeA.
Mr. V, it's yours. Yeah, and right now we want to try to move back.
언제나 있는 그대로의 맑고 깨끗함을 지켜가라고. 겨울을 잊은 강물이 내게 말했다. 맑고 깨끗한 칠성 사이다.
거리는 밀림이죠. 저는 사냥감을 찾아다니는 하이에나우?
처음엔 관심 받는 게 되게 좋았어요. 나름 제가 그 개그에 끼도 좀 있는 것 같고, 그래서 20살 때 공채 개그맨 시험에 한 방에 붙어버린 거예요. 히트작 하나 없는, 유행어 하나 없는, 사람들 알아보질 못하지 프로그램도 폐지됐죠. 개그맨 생활은 뭐 그렇게 끝났죠. 야, 이거 뭐 해먹고 살아야 되나 걱정만 했습니다. 그러다가 안 되겠다, 걱정을 열정으로 바꿔보자. 오! 그렇게 BJ 최군이 됐어요. 열정 하나로 진짜 미친 듯이 노력했거든요. 처음에는 시청자가 한 5분도 안 됐었는데 지금은 애청자만 43만 명! 예전엔 발이 닳도록 섭외 요청 다녔는데 요즘은 스타분들한테 출연 문의 받기에 바빠요. 역전된 거죠. 재밌다. 밀림 같은 인생에 비단길을 까는 기분이랄까? 무엇보다 재밌는 게 중요합니다. 저 인터뷰 한번 하실래요?
치킨 먹고 갈래? 치킨만 먹고 가라. 한 번 맛보면 매니아가 된다. 치킨 매니아. 자네가 그 치킨 매니아인가?
인정하긴 싫지만 니놈은 준비가 됐다.
안녕하세요, 문규리입니다. 달이 빛나는 밤에 오늘 첫 번째로 소개해드릴 노래는 스웨덴 밴드 스매시 인투 피시즈의 신곡입니다. 이 밴드는 2014년 3월에 1집을 냈었고요. 2015년 3월에 2집을 냈었거든요. 근데 또 3월에 3집을 낸다고 합니다. 참 재밌죠? 그만큼 열심히 활동을 하는 밴드인 것 같은데요. 참고로 보컬인 크리스 아담스가 이번에 자신의 경험을 토대로 직접 곡을 썼다고 하네요. 2016년 참 기대되는 스매시 인투 피시즈의 신곡 메리고라운드 함께 들어보시죠.
There's a side of you I love. There's a side that I'm sick of. No one gets me high like you. No one breaks me down the way you do. We played this game so many times, used the same old lies, said our last goodbye. Still I keep coming back for more. I just want you for one last time. You hate me when I break up. You save me when I fuck up. You love me when I'm back again. I'm addicted to you. Hate me when I break up.
GSL.
Welcome back to the GSL CodeA. We are going into our final best of 5 tonight. And I got to say, overall today, the games have been a bit one-sided.
Yeah, I mean, the first one was just, if there's one match to not recommend to your friends,
it would be
it's
Trap
that
versus,
one.
Trap versus Shine.
It's that one. Or rather,
you could sum that up in one word, Adepts.
Adepts, yeah. Well, Forte versus Bravo. Bravo did take that early win in the first game, but then Forte with 3 in a row.
Yeah, he got a good grip on how Bravo played and really exploited any location that Bravo wasn't properly defending. Now, this match we're about to have is the match I think we can all agree everybody's been waiting for. It is going to be Gumiho, the Tal Terran, against Dark.
I love that we get the GSL history graphic to come up, actually, just to get a sense of how long these guys have been playing this one game. For Gumiho, it is over 5 years, and that is a really long time. It's his 17th GSL. So many GSLs. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, this guy is a veteran of the GSL. I mean, he's been around for a long time. Many different expansions, different play styles, maps, metas, you name it, he's still been around.
And with the recent change to the tanks that we were talking about,
I think it suits our boy Gumiho quite well.
Yeah, it's really right down his alley. As I was talking about Bravo a little bit, unfortunately Bravo kind of failed me there. But either way, I think Gumiho will have a really fun time with it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting to see how he plays. If you guys aren't familiar with Gumiho, he really exhausts his opponent. This guy's got some of the highest APM in the world. He doesn't quite play like other players. I think he does a lot of moves that most pro gamers would lose with when he's doing it, but he just makes it work because he's so fast. Now his opponent, Dark, this guy is all around solid. Absolutely fantastic player. I think there's a lot of people who would say he's the favorite here. I'm leaning a little bit more towards Gumiho. Maybe that's foolish of me, but I'm just...
Well, I mean, it's a new game, as we've been saying so much. Yeah. It's a new expansion. It's basically StarCraft 3. And Zerg seems to be doing pretty well for themselves so far. I think in Heart of the Swarm, I would have given this one to Dark as well, just given how well he always did against Mag, and Gumiho was always going Mag. But again, this is a new game. I feel like either one of these players could win it. They're both so good.
It is a tough one to call. I'm leaning more towards Gumiho, but I mean, if Dark 3-0s this, I can't say I'm that surprised.
Yeah, I mean,
Dark's a fantastic player. We'll see. TVZ, the pushing looks a little bit different. We've seen a lot of Marine tank coming back into style with the medevacs picking up the tanks. That does change the nature of the push itself because medevacs oftentimes are not healing the Marines as much as they are relocating tanks. Now, I don't know. Maybe Gumiho has a totally different approach to this. But it's a different beast. Terran have always had very strong pushes, and the good players have always adjusted properly with the new units and patch changes and everything else to figure out how to readjust that push to make it as effective as possible.
Yeah, really excited to see what Gumiho is going to bring out here. Generally a guy, as you said before, doesn't really follow the meta. He kind of just does his own thing. He's a very smart player. Yeah, he has the multitasking to, I feel like, also be very, very successful in Legacy of the Void. Definitely one of the guys I'm looking at towards the beginning here to really develop his own style and just be very strong with the multitasking I was talking about. I think he's going to really show a lot of games where he outplays his opponents specifically.
In a lot of ways, Gumiho is one of the unsung heroes of StarCraft 2. I mean, he's really been around for so long. He's caused so many upsets, but he's not the guy that wins a GSL, you know?
He's the guy that had the booth fall on him over at Pro League. He then went on to defeat Zest, who at the time was probably the best Protoss in the game.
In the world.
Yeah,
in the galaxy. But, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens in this game. TVZ, again, a very interesting matchup. Zergs have also come up with a lot of good timings. We've seen Nidus Worm plays very effective against some of the Terrans who tend to tech a little bit more. We've seen some very strong Ling Roach Ravager pushes for Terrans that expand too quickly.
And Dark's he's no stranger to doing that kind of play as well. He can really turn on the jets if he needs to, and maybe that's exactly what we are going to see out of him up against Gumiho, because generally you don't want to let Gumiho sit back and just do his own thing. You
We're
do
back
want to
on
put
camera.
on the pressure.
I got to sit up straight and stuff.
Yeah,
I was ready to go into games. That's when the game starts. I'm like, okay, like I unbuckle my pants, so
Take
my,
off
my
our tie
belly
a little
can
bit,
hang out. I'm
yeah.
like, oh, all right, now we can just chill, man. Or
That's when our
lean
posture
over
goes
on the
from
desk.
this to like this.
Yeah. Where it
Yeah.
goes to exactly, it's like I call it posture. I'm like, enter kyphosis, and I'm like, and just twist my back like that.
We joke about it, but it's actually true. Like, it's actually what happens
Dude,
to both of us. We both just begin to fold slowly.
I went to the doctor last year, and they did an X-ray, and like I got to see my spine.
Oh no,
and
that is terrifying, man.
Oh my god,
that sounds terrible.
And the doctor's just like,
why did you do that?
He's just looking at. It was like a checkup, you know. And then the doctor's just looking at it like, okay. He's like, we need to start exercising your back muscles. I seriously, if you took my spine and like put it over, you know, when they put the Batman symbol, like in the air, and he sees it. My spine looks like the Riddler question mark. Okay,
Oh,
like I was like, oh man.
Yeah, I've actually been doing some exercises to improve my posture a little bit.
That's good.
Yeah, you get up on a wall, you like tuck your chin in, and you start to look like a bird. It looks dumb, but if you do it in your house, you'll look good outside.
Somebody tricked you. That's not exercising. Wolf's at
I
home
just look
going
like a
like
fool.
Gobble, 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 like this with his arms against the wall.
Someone planted a hidden camera in my house.
Yeah.
It's all just a one big joke to make me look really bad.
Man. Oh, man.
That
As you
would
guys
be-
can see, I stole one of the drinks off the desk.
Yeah. Did
In
you
case-
hear about the
Let's
time?
put this back up here while we're on camera. We get that. There we go.
You
See,
know-
this is the magic of TV. I know a lot of you guys are
Well,
watching. You're going,
I mean-
their cans are fake. Those aren't real Hot 6 cans. Well, they are. They are real.
Yeah, that's why he's drinking out of it right now. Turns out Tasteless is actually just a really good actor.
Yeah.
They're not actually
This
real.
is full of whiskey, actually, in case you guys are wondering.
That's how we have so much fun. In these
Yeah, that's how we have so much fun. That's why as the show gets later on, it gets a lot more exciting.
It's kind of out of control.
I don't know what the holdup is.
It looks like we did get Gumiho finally in the game. It looks like it was a problem with they were like signing. They were trying to friend a bunch of different people, so maybe they finally got him on an account that works. But either way, it looks like we're going to get into this in a bit here.
In a bit. It's good to
more
be here with you,
delays.
Valdez.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun.
This is fun.
GSL is just so relaxed. I love getting up here.
There's
on this
something really
desk.
chill about the studio.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because we've
I
all
do like the
casted out of
setup
this
here.
place for so long.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good to be back here, bring you guys some more StarCraft 2 action. And it looks like, yes, we are ready to start our final best of 5. Gumiho against Dark here at the GSL. Introducing our players in the upper left, the Tau Terran.
MVP 치킨마루 구미호.
And his opponent in the bottom right in the red.
SK텔레콤 T1 다크.
Yeah, that's Duck. Love the way they pronounce his name over here in Korea.
How do they pronounce it?
Duck.
Duck.
It's really like Daku, but it kind of sounds like Duck if they just say it quickly, or if you're not familiar. But I find it funny.
This would be the way they
I'm immature, tasteless. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you're saying that to
Duck. Yeah.
This 31-year-old man who has somehow tricked people into letting him talk about video games on TV. Now, Jimmy should have stayed. Hashtag Jimmy should have stayed.
Hashtag.
Get it trending on Twitter.
Also, Denmark loves Korea. So. nice
Now,
little thing
we
there.
saw the towel back there. In case you're wondering,
He
Gumiho
gave
has...
the camera a little look there.
Yeah, he did.
He's a little pissed off. He's like, "Hey, I'm trying to play here."
He was mad dogging me for a second.
Yeah.
I jumped back. I was like, "Don't hurt me, man." So he uses the towel on the mouse because he has a condition called hypohidrosis, which is a real thing. which naturally just
No,
gives
you're not just like making this up right now.
most of the things I say on TV I make up, but no, this one's actually true. But that causes your palms to perspire, and because of that, your mouse would essentially get very like wet and slippery, and that would not be good in a game where you got players playing at least around 200 APM actions per minute. So he's actually, it's kind of iconic. He plays with a towel or a washcloth or whatever you want to call it over the mouse, and I never in 1,000 years would have guessed that is actually doable, but apparently it is. And he does it quite well.
Yeah.
And he's one of the faster players here in the GSL.
It's kind of funny because I'm sure the first day he brought it, he's like, oh, I'm so embarrassed. They're going to think I'm weird for bringing my towel. But now it's like the thing that everybody remembers him for.
They're going to laugh at my towel.
Yeah.
They're going to laugh at me and my towel. Then he wakes up covered in cold sweat, and he grabs the towel by his biggest man. Oh.
Yeah. That's literally probably the way he felt, but we all love him for it now.
I think that if you beat Gumiho in a StarCraft game, you should unlock the towel icon.
Towel icon?
Yeah, you need a towel icon.
Yeah.
I think so.
Where would that go? Like, how would you use the towel icon?
You can use your Battle.net portrait, the towel icon. You just go to towel.
Okay.
People are like, oh my god, you beat Gumiho. That's what that towel icon means. I'm like that guy that knows what all the icons mean.
Yeah.
We got an armory coming up here. This is interesting.
Yeah, this is looking like a weird game of Heart of the Swarm.
And we have a Roach Rush with the Ravagers coming up here to put the pressure on. Now, I did not expect Gumiho to be going for mech, but...
Well, it looks like it's a Hellbat timing.
Yeah, I think you might be right about that, actually.
But at the same time, he sees these Roaches and Ravagers coming across the map, and he's like, uh-oh, I got to prepare for this. And we see a Marauder being made right now, a bunker about to finish.
And can he get that SCV in time? Oh, seriously? Oh my god, that changes everything.
That's actually really bad.
That's
He's going to have to pull a bunch of these SCVs now.
Well, not to mention there's only one Reaper here in this group. Excuse me, 2 Reapers. Looks like he just barely has enough to hold this off anyways. Cancels that. And is going to now begin applying pressure here. Kind of a funky game. There seems to be a bit of an overextension there by Dark.
Yeah, he got surrounded a bit by the SCVs. He did a little bit of damage, but he lost a lot of his units. He delayed his third base and a lot of his droning up by a really long time by going for that pressure. And I don't think it really did enough damage. At the same time, Gumiho's got a very strong push coming across here, 5 Hellbats.
Yeah, he's got the weaker Hellbats in the front. Got to be careful about that. Roach is coming over here. Roaches can actually out-micro Hellbats, believe it or not. And he's going to now have him on the run. He's chasing him away. Siege Tank's coming out now. Still waiting to see if we're going to have perhaps more factories, perhaps more barracks. I was wondering if that armory would allow him to segue into a different kind of tech. Zerg, on the other hand, just playing pretty normal. Don't think we're going to have any Nidus Swarm play or anything like that, although we have seen a good amount of that so far in Legacy of the Void.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose he could try to follow it up, but I'm not sure if it would work out too well. Nice spotting by Gumiho. His scouting so far has been nice. Reaper's going to the main, scout no lair, and then he goes over to the third, just wants to see the timing of when that is coming down. And he does do that. He's going to follow up with a bunch of tanks in this mix.
Yeah, I think he could just do a pretty effective push. Kind of an interesting way that he's been playing this, but I guess this works. He just makes a bunch more barracks and goes right into a normal bio play. So it starts out as somewhat of a Hellbat, timing attack, followed up with just very traditional TVZ pushing, of course mixed in with the super mobile siege tank, which we are continuing to see completely change the way that we understand Terran as a race in StarCraft 2.
Yeah, look at this. He's going to have that. Well, he was going to have it on the low ground, but now he's got it on the high ground, picks it up.
Oh, my God. Out micros the Ravagers. The Ravagers actually separated from the main. Drones coming down here and getting killed immediately.
Oh, and all those drones in the back at the same time. He can get right on top of them, but he's stealing the Ravagers.
Pick up the tank. Thank you.
Last second there, but that last Roach, actually, that came out there is able to take it out, but this is still a really strong attack out of Gumiho.
Go get the tank. I feel like I'm personally in Gumiho's ear right now.
Yeah.
The hatchery is going to go down 100%, and I don't know. I mean, God, these early Legacy of the Void games, the way they're looking is so funny. because it's just like nerds getting bopped like left and right.
Yeah.
Like he drops the Hellions right over here on top of the drones.
Unfortunately, not really able to get that many kills. A lot
he
of
bruised
weak
him.
drones there.
Excuse me.
Barely able to get a bit of health back with their regeneration. Now going to try to come into the main.
Roaches over here as well.
Ooh, just going to try to boost out there. Saves that medevac just barely, but he's already done a ton of damage. I mean, he's taken out that third base.
Valdez, I'm having some kind of audio problem. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
You can hear me?
Yeah, you must.
Okay, hold on a second. There's something. Okay, no, wait. You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you totally fine.
I can't hear my...
You're probably fine to the stream.
Just talk for me. I got to fiddle with these.
Yeah, sure.
So, I don't know. Something got pinched in my wire.
Yeah. Well, the follow-up here for Gumio looks like just another attack. I don't see any other command centers coming up here. He's getting +1 stim and combat shields at the same time. He knows he's delayed.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, all right. Well, I guess it's fine then. I guess it doesn't matter as long as everybody can hear me. I'll get that sorted out after the show. Sorry. Anyway, some small audio problem. So... I wasn't even listening to what you were saying, Brendan. I was
just saying that he took out the third base. He's got a lot of upgrades coming up here at the same time, so he's going to go for a big follow-up push. No plans of a third base coming up here. He knows that the next move for Dark is to try to get the base back and resaturate, but that means he's going to have a lot less of his units here.
Yeah, this push is now coming up here. The longer that Dark has the gold, the better it is for him. But we're talking about Stim just now finishing a really scary attack coming up here with tanks that can relocate on demand here by Gumiho. Now separating the second base from the third base. A counterattack here with these roaches. Gumiho notices at the last second and locks up the entrance into his main. Meanwhile, Gumiho, by the way, completely ignoring the gold base and is instead going to go right for the heart of the Zerg's base in a neck-breaking move.
Yeah, there's a lot of burrowed roaches now trying to get on top of that army, but I think this is way too much Terran. He's doing a lot of damage in the main of Gumio, and that's really going to be his only hope here.
And now stimming and coming down here, he's going to be able to take out the main. I think that's checkmate.
Yeah,
the roach number is small enough that I would imagine that over time this surely will be cleaned up. And this should mean that game number 1 is going to go to Gumiho. A really decisive play. I love what I'm seeing here, and nice job. He just scans right there, takes out those remaining roaches, making it look easy.
Yeah, that was the last hope for Dark, but even then, even if he took out all the tanks, it just wasn't going to be enough. Dark is not going to have a base here in the span of 5 seconds, and that should be it.
Everything is burrowed right now. I feel like if we got a shot of Dark in his booth, he would in fact be burrowed underneath the computer chair as well. There's no SCVs, man. There's 7 SCVs, there's 37 drones, so maybe...
Well, I mean, Dark right now, he's about to be revealed, and he can only make, I think it's five extractors here. If he wants to, he's going to begin to make those.
Well, he might try to come up here and attack with everything. Now, now he's going to get all these drones before they can meet up with the rest of this army. Roaches unburrowing, Medivacs healing up, and Siege tanks doing so much splash damage. And that should be the end of the game here. GG. Gumiho wins game number 1 against Dark. Cool.
Yeah, really, really nice job done there by Gumio. It really just came down to the early scouting. He knew it was coming. He responded really efficiently. That early build out of Dark was just kind of lackluster. Did not get the damage done that it needed to. And the follow-up there from Gumio was very smart, too. He knew the timings of the third base. Went over there, punished that with good medevac usage with the Hellbats and the tanks, and then just went for a nice follow-up to clean up the game.
Nicely done by Gumiho. Zergs have been having a bit of a hard time, at least the ones I've been casting so far here in Legacy of the Void. Gumiho also, by the way, marching to his own beat, doing that hell.